An entire enemy army, thousands of soldiers strong, suddenly struck blind in an instant. No battle, no weapons, just darkness where sight once was. The ancient account from Samaria tells of a supernatural intervention that saved a besieged city through mass blindness. But was this divine miracle biological warfare, or something science can now explain? Today, we explore one of history's most perplexing military mysteries. In the shadow of ancient Samaria's walls, tensions reached a breaking point. The Aramean army had surrounded the city, cutting off all supplies and hope. King Ben-Hadad's forces were vast chariots, horses, and seasoned warriors stretching beyond the horizon. Inside the city, panic gripped the population as food ran scarce and defeat seemed inevitable. But then something unprecedented happened. The prophet Elisha, calm amidst the chaos, prayed for divine intervention. According to the biblical account in 2 Kings 6, God struck the entire Aramean army with blindness, not partial impairment, but complete visual incapacitation. Thousands of trained soldiers, from commanders to foot soldiers, found themselves stumbling in darkness while standing under the bright Middle Eastern sun. This wasn't gradual vision loss or battlefield confusion. It was instantaneous, complete, and affected every single member of the invading force. The very foundation of military strategy, sight, coordination, and tactical awareness vanished in a moment, transforming predators into prey and turning the tide of what seemed like certain defeat. The immediate aftermath of the mass blindness revealed something extraordinary about human vulnerability. These weren't untrained peasants. They were professional warriors, men who had navigated battlefields and conquered cities. Yet without sight, their years of experience became meaningless. Elisha approached the confused army and offered to guide them to the man you were looking for. In their disoriented state, they followed him willingly, unknowingly being led directly into Samaria, the very city they had been besieging. Imagine the psychological impact. Soldiers who moments before were confident in their military superiority, now dependent on their enemy for basic navigation. The biblical narrative describes them being led like sheep, their weapons useless, their formations scattered. Once inside Samaria's walls, their sight was restored, revealing they were now prisoners in the place they had sought to conquer. This reversal demonstrates how quickly circumstances can shift when the fundamental tools we rely on in this case, vision, are removed. The Aramean army's plight illustrates humanity's profound dependence on sensory input, and how its sudden loss can render even the most powerful forces completely helpless. Modern medicine offers several explanations for how an entire army might lose sight simultaneously. Cortical blindness, caused by damage to the visual cortex, can occur without affecting the eyes themselves. Victims maintain pupil reflexes but cannot process visual information. Certain toxins, like methanol or ergot alkaloids, can cause rapid vision loss in large populations if introduced to water supplies or food sources. Hysterical blindness, a psychosomatic condition triggered by extreme stress, has been documented in military situations where soldiers lose sight without physical eye damage. Mass hysteria events, where psychological symptoms spread rapidly through groups, have been recorded throughout history. The desert environment itself could have contributed. Severe sandstorms can cause temporary blindness through corneal abrasions, while intense solar radiation can damage retinas. Chemical warfare, though primitive by today's standards, wasn't unknown in ancient times. Certain plant-based compounds, when burned or dispersed, can cause temporary vision loss. The simultaneous nature of the blindness suggests either an environmental factor affecting everyone at once or a psychological trigger that spread rapidly through the ranks. What makes the Samaria incident unique is the completeness of the blindness and its perfect timing, occurring precisely when it would save the besieged city. The human mind's response to sudden sensory deprivation, especially in high-stress military situations, reveals fascinating psychological mechanisms. When professional soldiers train to rely on visual assessment of threats, terrain, and tactical positions suddenly lose sight, their entire operational framework collapses. Studies of blind military personnel show that adaptation requires extensive retraining and psychological adjustment. But the Iranian army had no time to adapt. They were thrust into immediate helplessness. Research into mass conversion disorders shows how psychological symptoms can spread rapidly through military units, particularly under extreme stress. The power of suggestion becomes amplified when combined with fear and uncertainty. If initial soldiers experienced vision problems, whether from environmental factors, toxins, or psychological stress, the panic could have triggered similar symptoms throughout the ranks through a process called social contagion. The Samaria incident demonstrates the vulnerability of group psychology. Military units depend on collective confidence and coordinated action. When that foundation crumbles through shared sensory loss, even elite forces become manageable by a single individual, as Elisha proved when he guided the entire army alone. This psychological dimension suggests that the blindness might have been as much about mental state as physical condition. Contemporary military history provides striking parallels to the Samaria blindness event. During World War II, entire units experienced mass hysteria symptoms, including temporary blindness after chemical attacks or extreme bombardment. The Gulf War syndrome affected thousands of soldiers with various unexplained symptoms, demonstrating how modern warfare can create mass medical mysteries. Today's electronic warfare capabilities can disable visual systems' night vision equipment, targeting systems, and communication displays, creating tactical blindness that mirrors the ancient account. Cyber attacks on military networks can eliminate situational awareness, effectively blinding modern armies to digital threats. The principle remains the same: remove critical sensory or informational input, and even sophisticated forces become vulnerable. Environmental factors continue to play roles in military operations. Dust storms in Iraq and Afghanistan have grounded entire air forces and limited ground operations. Chemical exposures in industrial areas can affect large numbers of personnel simultaneously. The Samaria event, whether supernatural or natural, illustrates timeless truths about military vulnerability. It shows how quickly technological or physical advantages can be neutralized by factors beyond human control, and how dependence on specific capabilities, whether ancient eyesight or modern electronics, creates exploitable weaknesses in any military force. The Samaria blindness incident ultimately challenges our need to categorize events as either miraculous or scientifically explainable. Perhaps the most profound aspect isn't determining the exact mechanism, but recognizing how the event transcends simple explanation. Whether viewed as divine intervention, biological warfare, mass psychology, or environmental catastrophe, it demonstrates forces beyond individual human control, reshaping history in moments. This challenges our modern confidence in technological superiority and military planning. The Iranian army likely had contingencies for siege warfare, supply problems, and tactical challenges, but not for complete sensory deprivation affecting every soldier simultaneously. Their blindness reveals the fundamental limitations of human preparation and foresight. We create elaborate systems and strategies based on assumed constants that we can see, that our equipment functions, that our understanding remains accurate. The Samaria event suggests reality operates with variables we cannot fully anticipate or control. Modern military planners study this account not just as historical curiosity, but as a reminder that unknown factors can instantly transform any situation. Whether those factors are natural, technological, psychological, or supernatural becomes less important than acknowledging they exist beyond our current understanding or control. The blind army of Samaria stands as one of history's most intriguing military mysteries. Whether miracle or science, it demonstrates how quickly certainty transforms into chaos when our fundamental assumptions are challenged. In a world of advanced technology and sophisticated warfare, perhaps the greatest blindness is believing we can see everything that's coming. What other invisible forces might be reshaping our world right now?